Hey everybody, this is Michelle.
And this is Julie, and I happen to be here with my dear friend, my dear blonde friend.
Here I am.
I have to say, I'm going to give her a shout out because she will not do it herself, but I went to her party for work yesterday that is a holiday party in advance, because it gets busy during the holidays, and my girl won the Employee of the Year award, and she had absolutely no clue it was coming.
I really didn't.
You looked so surprised.
Yeah.
It was awesome though.
I was surprised.
They love her there. And the worst part about it was that her boss Ouija said, I couldn't tell you because I didn't think that you'd keep the secret. And I'm like, what the hell is that all about? Of course I would have kept the secret.
They kept, I think, it all really tight-lipped because at work, everything.
You didn't have a clue.
That's why he was saying we only had like the 5 people sign it because they didn't want it passing around and people, to know. Didn't want any chance of me finding out. So
and tickets to the Seahawks.
And I did get that too. It was a lucky night for me.
You had a great night.
Yeah, I should go to the casino more often.
No, let's not do that.
It was a casino themed night.
Yeah,
which is why I say that.
So I'm weird about like blackjack and stuff. I'm always feeling uncomfortable, like if I've been at Vegas or any of those places, to go actually sit down at a blackjack table because I don't know the etiquette and the rules. And I know there's rules about hitting on certain cards, and then if you hit on a card, you might take the card of the person next to you and they get really mad, and
I don't know any of that stuff.
Anyway, it's all the etiquette stuff. Mm-hmm. So we had, obviously chips, but it's fake money. Mm-hmm. So I felt a little bit more comfortable about betting $100. But the guy, his name was Matt, that was the dealer, was kind of, he was so fun. He was really kind of cranky, but in a fun way. Right. But he was kind of guiding us on what to do. Yeah. And so I was like, okay. So I felt so much more comfortable. I actually learned a few things. And I won $500.
Does this mean when we go to Vegas next, we're going to sit at the table and play some blackjack?
Only if they have like a $5 limit. I'm not going to be inclined. I'm not a gambler.
Yeah.
It was really fun. It was fun, but I have a tendency to make rash decisions and throw caution to the wind. And then that's usually when I lose.
Yeah. I'll just do $20 in the slots, and I usually gain a little, lose a little, and then when it's gone, I'm done. Nope, no more.
When I told this guy, the dealer, when I told him, it's like, I've kind of get intimidated at these tables, and that's not something that happens to me that often, but for whatever reason, I'm feeling like I wouldn't know what to do. And he goes, oh, you must be a slot machine girl. I'm like, no, I'm not really one of those either, but that would be where I'd be inclined to go. So yeah. Well, what do you think? It's coming up on the holiday period here pretty soon.
I know. We are pretty much in the throes of holiday.
Yeah.
Whatever that is to people. This time, mid-November comes around, and it's almost like on your mark, get set, go.
That's right.
I have noticed this year, the Christmas stuff, it just comes earlier and earlier.
I saw October.
I say that every year, but literally every year. This year, it just seems like it was before Halloween was even here.
It was.
Yeah.
It was in October. I mean, because I remember saying, I'm just like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah. And I'm not in retail anymore. I totally understand why when I was in retail, that was a problem, but I'm not in retail anymore, and it's still a problem. So,
well, it kind of takes away from, Yeah. I have to say that we are both individuals who have been in retail. So we're, what's the word I'm looking for? Recovering. We're recovering retail people. Because I think about
the retail hangover.
Oh my God. It's like, I just think about those years where it's like nothing. The holidays always seemed like they would come and go, blink, 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 and you're done. And it would be, starting on Thanksgiving and going all the way through every day working, and just it wasn't it, and the kids were young, relatively young. So I still did all that crazy stuff. I decorated my house. I made all the cookies. I did all the, and now I don't have, and I'm just like, I would never do.
I know. How did I do all that?
Well, I don't have as much space to decorate now, but even if I did, I don't think I would do it, because then I'd have to take it all down, you know, just enough to give it a little bit of holiday spice, and I'll be good. Like, the wreath on the front door. That's about as far as I went.
Is that it?
I did the wreath on the for Thanksgiving. And well, for fall, right. The wreath on the front door, and I got a baby pumpkin and I put it on the mantle.
Yeah.
Done. And then, then I'll take that wreath down and I'll put up a holiday Christmassy wreath and the Christmas tree and the kids' Christmas pictures and maybe a couple poinsettias and done.
Yeah. I need to think about that. Really, this year is probably going to be more scaled back than I ever have been.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you have a dog coming to visit you.
Yep, we're going to have a dog visitor for a couple weeks, and then I'm going to be gone on actual Christmas. So
because she's going to see her sweetheart.
Yes, we're going to Park City again. It's going to be a great time.
Yeah, you'll have to post some pictures of that so everybody knows who the heck is going and what you're doing. She doesn't ski. Let's just establish that right now.
Nope. I'm the lodge bunny, coffee keeper, picture taker.
Yep.
Keep us on task person.
Yes. Yeah. It's perfect. And she can read a book or do whatever when, everybody is out skiing.
I would probably break my leg. So I just don't
have you
even
ever
chance
tried?
it. No, 100 years ago.
Okay.
Yes, on the hills in Minnesota.
Oh God, that was a long time ago.
Not on a mountain slope by any means, like we've got here in Washington. So
have I ever told you the story about skiing?
When you
Mary?
Whatever you did? Oh yeah.
The Mary story?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so quickly, we'd have a lot of mountains and everything in the Northwest, a lot of skiing. I don't ski. I don't water ski, I don't snow ski, and I don't snowboard. And it's not because I haven't wanted to. I just my parents never really got us into it, that kind of thing. So in high school, I was like, I'm going to learn how to ski. And Mary, we all know who Mary is. She was a total skier. Her whole family, they all skied. And she's like, you've got this. It's so easy. Let's just go. And we went with school, go up on the school bus. So I borrowed all this gear and got a jacket, the really thin jacket, I remember. And I was sick. I was on these ski lessons were for my birthday in January. And so I was not feeling well. I was sick, I had bronchitis or something, I remember. And I wouldn't tell my parents that I didn't feel good because I felt so bad that they'd paid for these ski lessons and everything. I was fucking miserable. I was miserable. I could not wait to get inside. Oh, I was so cold, blah, blah, blah. Well, then Mary's like, just skip the ski lesson the second time we were up there. I'll show you how to do what you need to do, right? So I go up the chairlift at Stevens, I think it was Stevens Pass, and it was Blue Jay, whatever chairlift that is. I didn't know how to stop. And so we go up on this chairlift and she gets off the chairlift and gracefully, comes to a stop. I get off the chairlift and bomb down the hill and basically do a little somersaults. And she says, you would have been fine. You would have been fine. Oh my God, it was horrible. It was horrible. So that was my experience. I never went back. Then a few years ago, I tried to snowboard up at Whistler. And the baby hill there is kind of a steep hill. Anyway, long and the short of it is I ended up tearing the meniscus in my knee. And so I never did it again.
That's what would happen to me.
Yeah. But it looked like it would be fun if you got going, but it's kind of miserable from what I understand for the first 4 or 5 times until you get going. And it's all about the gear. You got to have good gear.
Good gear.
Yeah. That's my skiing story. The water skiing one will come at another time.
There you go.
Yeah. So, hey, what are you so grateful for at this time of the year, Missy?
Well, you know what? Back to what you started out with. I'm really thankful for where I work. So that is giving me cause to ponder where I'm at now and how I got to be here and working at that place. So that's something I'm thankful for.
Yeah. And I have to say that, I met a lot of people that you work with and really a pretty delightful group of people.
They're fun.
They were super fun. And you could just tell everybody pretty much got along, except for they were all pissed off that the service people got all these
so many
prizes.
Awards. Yeah.
And the construction people didn't get any of the awards. Shout out. Sorry, guys. Maybe next year. Yeah. Well, when you really think about, we can talk about that. Let's talk about what we're grateful for, of course, because I think we should be talking about this more than just at the holiday time frame, but that's when it comes to when people talk about it,
doesn't it? We come upon the season of gratitude, if you will. of course, the Thanksgiving holiday is this month. And so I think that's what gets that all going. And then as you move into Christmas, just like all the things, giving, giving, giving. And I think that something to really keep in mind might be to really practice this gratitude on a daily basis. And I think that we all do to some degree, but there's some things that I'll bring up later that it's a practice, actually, a daily practice, because being grateful and having gratitude is really good for your overall well-being.
Yeah. Well, and I think really evaluating that we're in a place where in our lives and, where we physically are, that we should be, I don't like to use the word should, but it's like we have a lot to be grateful for and a lot to be appreciative of. And it's very easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of the day to day and forget those things.
Well, and I think a lot of that has to do with our primary source of interaction now is on social media. Yeah. So, hashtag Thankful Thursday or whatever it is. And the people part of it is so much less.
Yeah, because you're not interacting in person with as many people. That's really true.
Yeah.
So during the year, this time of the year, we talk about it being more prevalent in our thoughts. But what about other times of the year? Do you feel like it comes up more, or is it more just right now?
Oh, I think it comes up now, but whether or not it's going to be part of who you are at other times in the year is going to be totally up to you, right? As to making it that way. And I think to be grateful and to have gratitude requires stillness. It requires reflection, thoughtfulness, and with the way things are now, so much of that is hard to do. Those things are hard to do. So it's going to really take making the time as part of a daily practice, if you will. I think that's where meditation comes in a lot. And that's what people are I think it's part of that practice that people do.
Everybody has, their own way probably that they are, reflecting on their life, reflecting on things. But to this point, this time of the year is really when you start really thinking about all those things, or going into the new year and kind of resetting. I like to think I know this is probably really contrary to what a lot of people think, but I really look at Mondays like a reset day. It's like, it's kind of a clean slate. If things really didn't go well the week before, you've got a clean slate. You can start fresh. You can learn from whatever happened before and focus on the more positive things in the following week, and be grateful for the fact that you have the opportunity to do that. Yeah. We have, like we were talking about the things we're thankful for. And I was saying to Michelle, I was like, well, come on, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for my family, my kids and my health or whatever. And Michelle says, your health? And I was like, well, I wasn't saying my mental health. I was just saying my health. But I am thankful for my mental health too, I guess. Yeah. When you really get into it, because there's so many things that can distract you and, kind of get your thoughts going in the wrong direction as well.
I was reading something about to improve your mental health and writing what they call gratitude letters. Yeah. Regularly. And it showed that those that did that had significantly better mental health than those who didn't.
Because they put their thoughts in writing?
Well, the gratitude. Yeah. I suppose it would be like if you're a spiritual person and you pray or meditate, right? It's like doing that, but writing it down.
Like journaling.
Journaling. Yeah. Essentially. Specifically to the things that you have gratitude for.
Yeah. On a side note with journals, total side note.
Yeah.
But I used to journal a ton, like a lot. And I was watching some show like a couple weeks ago, and they were talking about whoever this person was had done a journal, and someone else found it and read it. And it had their deepest thoughts, right? And I don't think I would write all that stuff down because I would be more concerned about it not being private.
Right.
Okay, that's a complete side note. So I'd stay more high level. Like I read some of the journals that I wrote, like when the kids were born. And all of that. It didn't really talk about what I was afraid of or, what my concerns were, what was happening. It was really more of how it was all about like the gratefulness that I had for these children. But that's all. Otherwise it
focused
seems like,
on.
It was like these journals make it sound like I am on cloud 9 when I probably hadn't slept for 26 hours and showered or anything. Or my, had a mastitis or something,
Well, and to that point, it says also when doing that, these letters of gratitude, that it's good for your physical health as well.
Yeah.
It helps with better sleep. And I suppose, when you do have those things top of mind and you're putting them down in words, it's kind of a confirmation, if you will, that those things are true and happening in your life. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I might try to look at that a little bit differently because the writing has always given me peace. It's always given me peace, but I don't know that I have been completely like forthcoming in my journals. Not when I say, I don't mean maybe forthcoming isn't the right word, that I've gotten into my deepest, darkest thoughts.
Why do you need to? Why?
I don't know. I just have always thought, when you're journaling, it's like I always have looked at it like, I don't want anybody else to get a hold of this.
Right.
So I would be really careful about what I wrote in there or how I wrote what I wrote. Maybe that's not the way to do it. Maybe.
I think it needs to be whatever you need it to be.
Well,
I don't think there's a right or a wrong way to journal.
No, but I'm saying I'm wondering if I would get more out of it. Right. If I was a little bit more in depth.
Just burn it when you're done.
Right. Yeah. Or I really do want to get a safe. I could put it in a safe or something if that's what I'm worried about.
Right.
Or I could write it in code. No. I would do that all the time when I was a kid, so my mom wouldn't read it.
They do say, and I've done this, where you write down things, not necessarily gratitude, but things that you want to let go of.
Right. Yeah.
And then burn the paper, and it's like you do it when there's a full moon.
Winter solstice.
Yeah, and I went to that thing last year.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was called, but it's the spiral, and you have a candle, and as you enter this spiral, you are thinking about the things from the last year, things that you're can be grateful for, things you're going to let go, things you're going to do differently, and then you place the candle at the center, and then it continues. You don't turn around and walk out. You just continue to go. Oh. It's all this. It's very interesting. And then as you, once you put the candle down and start walking out of the spiral, you're thinking of things as you're going into the new season or the new year.
Okay.
Of the things that, what are you going to accomplish? What are you going to do differently? So
you change your thought process from when you walk in until when you walk out.
Yeah. So it's like ending the year and going into the new.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of.
We did a winter solstice thing last year up at Mary's lake house where we burned a Yule log and did exactly like what you're talking about. Everybody wrote something down on a piece of paper, and then we burned it in the fire afterward.
Yeah.
It was like what you want to accomplish, what you're grateful for. I mean, I don't know what everybody's were, but it was kind of it's very symbolic.
Yeah. Can seem, I guess, ritualistic in a way, but I mean, it's like, to your point, symbolic, I guess, is the better word.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're trying to do.
So this year, this winter solstice, I'm really excited for.
Oh, why?
Yeah, just because it's like, I know how to look at it differently. And I've never really paid attention to it until last year.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm being all woo woo or anything. I don't know. It was just a good feeling.
It's good. And back to the point of these things when it comes to gratitude and the things that you're reflecting on in your own life, it's very therapeutic. Can do good when you have that, here we go, attitude of gratitude.
Attitude of gratitude. Well, I was thinking about people just in general, out there really having so much. And I mean, there's obviously a disparity between people that have so much and people that don't have enough. There's going to always be that dividing line, if you will, between those two. But I wonder sometimes when people have so much, whether they really have the ability to be content, So we take it for granted.
Right.
And so from there, it's like, are you really content? Do you really understand what being content is, or are you always striving for more?
Right. You know, there's a mantra for me in my life is never settle. And we were talking about this earlier, Julie, you and I, that when you become content, it doesn't mean that you're settling.
Right.
And I think it's a really good feeling when you do recognize that it's okay to be content. And I say that with caution because, like, why do we need permission to be content? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just use the phrase be okay with.
But content leaves you with a feeling of peace when you use the word content. And so going back to that, I've kind of cycled that through my thoughts since we were talking about this. And I've never been really in a position where I felt like I was content to the degree that there's obviously been moments where I've been just like, I'm like right in the right place. You know, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm very content with where I'm at, but I've always been so driven. And I've looked at the driven part as being, you know, tying it to success, tying it to whatever. And so you're not content with the job or do better, or we want to get better. I'm always pushing myself. So then you kind of start dialing forward in your life, and you're getting to that place where a lot of the things that you put so much energy and time into that you thought were so important really aren't. In the big scope of your life, they're probably not that important, but they make up really the person that you become when you become an older person.
Well, and the flip side of that can be someone like, I think I can be perceived sometimes as being too content.
Well, I balance you out, I guess.
Because like I'm the kind of person, like right now my toothbrush is broken. It's not, it's a Sonicare toothbrush. It still works, but the head it goes onto is loose. So it's kind of loud, but it still works.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that until it's
what would I do?
You'd go buy a new one.
I would.
Yeah. And it's
would
not,
make me crazy.
I mean, I recognize that I need a new one, but I don't
need it today.
I don't need it today. And it's probably been about a month or so since it's been doing this, maybe even a little bit longer. This sounds kind of silly, but I'm thankful I have the toothbrush, you know.
Especially Sonicare.
When this seems like a trivial thing, but like big picture, there's people out there that don't even have a toothbrush, you know. So I just use that, I guess, as an example because I tend to be perceived as, like not having a sense of urgency and being almost too content.
Right.
Yeah.
Or do you mean like complacent?
I don't consider myself complacent at all.
But so you're looking at it like you need to light a fire under you. Someone's told you?
No, not even like that. But just back to my example.
Yeah.
Like if you need a new toothbrush and if your toothbrush is broken and you have money for a toothbrush, just go buy a new toothbrush. But I tend to just like, I'm okay with it for a while until I just find the time that I'll need to go do it.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, if it didn't work altogether, that would be different. That would be a different story. Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah. I think I've started to become more that way. I found, and honestly, we'll have an episode that was going to talk about the pandemic, but I think a lot of that really kind of came through during the pandemic because you evaluated everything so differently.
Right.
But we won't get into that rabbit hole right now.
Right.
So practicing gratitude, that's the one thing that I feel like I'm going to really focus on doing a better job of. But I do feel like I try to convey my level of gratitude and my level of appreciativeness to people that I care about that are in my life. And I don't expect things really from people.
Yeah.
And because that goes back to the whole thing of expectations of things like that really will put you in not a great place.
Yeah.
But surprise and delight is awesome when it happens, and you run into something or someone or, whatever it is, and you weren't expecting it, or you see someone making progress and you're so like, yes, it's not your progress, but you maybe had a hand in it or talked to them and you see them doing better. And it just gives you this like warm and fuzzy feeling. Yeah. Feeling in your heart. It makes you just be so grateful for the fact that you have that person in your life.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what we're grateful for and why.
Okay.
All right. And again, all of you out there listening, we would love for you to kind of think this through when you're listening, because a lot of these will be similar, I imagine, but maybe for different reasons.
Yeah.
And we just want you to kind of think about what is in your life, what is happening with you that you feel so fortunate to have or be around or what have you, just like, we're talking about for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. And there's so many things that are wrapped up even into one topic, like we're going to talk about. Of course, the first thing I have on my list is that I'm thankful for my family.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot wrapped up into that.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm thankful. Actually, today is my mother's 96th birthday.
Know.
So, I mean, how grateful am I that she has had the opportunity to spend that many years on this earth, and who knows how many more.
And you've been able to see her, kind of like changing roles a little bit.
Yeah.
Becoming the adult. Now she's actually very with it.
Yeah.
Heck, she can work her way around a computer. It sounds like no other.
Yeah.
But just the stories I know you've told me that she's shared and just some of the experiences that she's had, you wouldn't know any of that stuff if she wasn't here.
Right. Right.
And I think we forget that stuff sometimes.
Yeah. So, family, I have 4 beautiful boys that are young men now, that are getting older. They're older men.
Older men. There's 2 in-betweens and 1 older, 1 younger.
I have, 7 grandchildren. And so...
You have a new grandchild.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Little girl.
She's so cute.
Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful little baby. So, so much to be thankful for in... that's wrapped up into family. I have 7 siblings who are all still here with us on the earth. And, like I said, my mom, my boys, 7 grandchildren, a lot to be thankful for with family.
Your life is full.
It's very full.
With family. Mm-hmm. When I see when people don't have family or they don't have a very big family, and they're in different parts of the country or whatever, it kind of hurts my heart sometimes because that they're not getting to spend those times for whatever reason. Or maybe that, you've heard that old adage of, you can't pick your family, but you can pick your friends. I mean, some people probably don't want to be close by their family.
Yeah.
Or their family didn't make the top 5 list for whatever reason,
Yeah.
They're fighting over some will or something. Oh my gosh. It's crazy. Some of the things you hear.
Yeah.
Well, the first one I put on mine was my family as well. And it's funny that this year I've really focused a lot on I've spent a lot more time with my mom, and I'm very thankful for my mom and grateful for my mom because she has helped me learn patience. And, I see a person who is 30 years almost to the day older than me, and her life has been so different than mine. But I've kind of started to step back and just try to understand more about why and where she came from and how that affects who she is today. And I used to just get so irritated because I just didn't have a lot of patience, and I'm really trying to have more patience and really kind of embrace all of that with her.
Yeah.
Because she's pretty amazing.
I think most of us there's a level of that goes into those relationships as they change. And I see that my kids are practicing that sometimes now with me.
Really?
Yeah, I can tell.
Oh, geez. I see, that'll make me nervous if my kids start doing that. So I really make a conscious effort not to try and make them feel guilty because that's the Catholic guilt thing that, runs so prevalent in my family. But I've caught myself a couple times where I go, Mom, you sound like grandma. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm taking that back. That's not what I meant, whatever. But yeah, along with family, you have your beautiful kids. It's like, I've got my 3 children that they're grown now too. And now we've got significance in the picture. And 2 of them have significance that I adore. And I'm so happy to see them happy, with the person who they love and that just really loves them back. You know? There's just nothing better than that, to see your kid be happy. And they're, of course they go through trials and tribulations just like everybody else, but it just makes my heart, kind of makes my heart feel warm to see that they're figuring all those things out.
Yeah.
And they're healthy and
no
grandkids yet, not in any hurry. I don't need one,
Side
let alone
note.
7.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I'm not going to ask you guys. I'm not, that doesn't come out of my mouth, even though I might be thinking it, but well, what else are you thankful for?
I'm thankful for the relationships that I have in my life. Obviously, the relationships that I have within my family that are super meaningful, and the relationship I have with my partner and sweetheart. That relationship is, I'm super thankful for that. Relationships that I have with people at work, and the relationships with my friends. So there's a lot wrapped up into that also, and those relationships are something that I cherish. I was trying to think of definitely something that I cherish and do not take for granted.
No, I've never seen you take for granted your relationships at all.
And of course, this relationship here.
I love my friend. I was her +1 last night, but I had to tell them we're not lesbian lovers. I know they were wondering.
I was thinking about that later.
I mean,
I was like, did she introduce? I'm her non-lesbian +1. I was like, okay.
I mean, I don't care if we are, but that's, I just thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah, that was funny.
Well, I had written down, and again, these are things that people probably put in these categories, but I had written down about my health because I see, for example, like what my friend Mary is going through. Yeah. And she's, like I said before, a badass, and she's got a great outlook, and she's so optimistic. And she's going to come through all of this fine, but I'm grateful that I have not had to experience that myself. Now I've had other things, obviously thyroid cancer, stuff like that, but I got through all those, and I'm taking care of myself and, eating well, and it just feels really good to have the opportunity to be able to do that. Like I didn't fuck it up early on. You think about, I put myself like last. So I'm like, I didn't eat well. I was like I would let my stress get in the way, and I wouldn't go to the gym, and you know what I mean? It's like I'd stay up too late. I'd get up too early, all those things. And it's like my body has been through a lot in my years, but has managed to stay with me and keep me going in a way to where I'm not halfway living. I'm truly living. I'm living fully. My life. Yeah, I can live my life. I can physically do things. I can, whatever the case may be. And it's like, I try not to take all that for granted, because there are so many people, so many examples out there where people don't have the ability to do that. Right. They don't get to go dancing. They don't get to go to the gym to do the same things that I do. And it's like, this stuff is not something that I should just assume I'm able to do because I'm able-bodied or whatever. I could get in a car accident, knock on wood, will never happen, but tomorrow, and I could break both my legs.
It's crazy how literally we do take things like that for granted. I say that only because right now my niece recently fractured her elbow. Yeah. And so on her right arm.
She's right-handed.
She's right-handed. So just to see the things daily, I was just talking to her on the phone today, and she was like, I really need somebody to come help me wash my hair, hopefully today or tomorrow. And, something as simple as that we just, because the showers aren't the same. Nope. Putting on makeup is not the same. Putting your contacts in or not. So even something as, it's not little, but just something like that really makes you realize.
It's just a part of what the
things that we do. Yeah. Every single day that really we do take for granted, because they're just things that we do all the time, every day. Yeah. But then when something like that happens, makes you realize.
Yeah. And I think it's good to kind of put yourself in check sometimes. You know? And not every time you see somebody who's having a tough time, but just putting yourself in check, because you, for the most part, probably are doing just fine. Yeah. You just need to give yourself a little bit more of a push in one direction or another, depending upon what it is you feel like you're lacking. Yeah. So, but health is, really critical. Now, let's not talk about health coverage, because healthcare coverage sucks and is so expensive. Oh my gosh. God, I don't need any health care. Really. Yeah. I have a health care, obviously, but I don't really use it.
Right.
So thank God for that, you know?
Yeah.
Because if I did, I'd probably be screwed. But
Yeah.
anyway.
Me too.
So your health. Yeah. What else do you have there?
I'm thankful for the material blessings that I'm able to, that I enjoy. I have a car that is reliable. I have a roof over my head, you know, in this amazing home with my best friend.
And the floor hasn't flooded.
And the floor hasn't flooded, you know, and again, that's a good example of a situation. It makes you realize the things, you know, that we're thankful for. So, you know, just those basic kinds of things that, I don't know, I use the word material blessings, but, and I think that's what they are, not materialistic, you know, but just the things that
Creature
I'm able
comforts.
to, basic things that a lot of people don't have. And I'm grateful for those things.
Yeah. I agree. Again, day-to-day stuff. It's really easy to say, but like I wanted to mention about my friends or friendships, and I hold them in a very special place in my heart because my friends have been the people who have been there to cheer me on, and they've been there to catch me when I've needed to be caught and give me the straight up
kick in
the ass. Yep. When I've needed it, because they don't, you know, they're not scared to. All of those things help form you as a person.
Yeah.
And there are friendships that I don't have in my life anymore for one reason or another, just over the years, that I'm still grateful for having had them, because you learn something from every interaction that you have. And so you may learn what not to do. You may learn what not to tolerate, or, you know, or vice versa. You know, you learn what you really are appreciative of when you have something and then it's gone.
Yeah.
So you just, you know, looking at those as all kind of life lessons. I feel like the people that are in my life are, I just feel really strongly about, I'm their person. I've got them. If they need me, I will be there. And it's not like it's a huge circle, you know, it's not like this massive, huge circle, but it's my circle.
Yeah.
And, you know, these people know that I've got them.
Yep.
And I feel, like I was saying earlier, I feel very safe.
Yeah.
Not physically safe, but just like my soul, my heart, all that kind of stuff just feels like it's in a good place, and like they would protect me.
Emotionally safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really a very important part, especially, you know, being a single person, you know, that's obviously been a huge part of my single life, because I've woven my friendships into a lot of the things that I've done that I would never probably have even thought to do when I was married.
Otherwise. Yeah.
So
very true.
You know, getting out and doing different things that I might not have done before, or exposed to things that I wouldn't necessarily have been to before. So I'm really appreciative of all those things.
Yeah.
And my friends tolerating me wanting to, you know, listen to the same music over and over again.
Damn straight.
Yeah.
Damn straight.
How many times are you going to hear? I don't know. I'm on a John Legend kick right now. John Legend radio kick. So,
I also had health, to your point, all the same kinds of things like you were mentioning, but I did specifically write down, and I know that I am specifically very thankful for the 5 senses of touch and smell and sight, and, you know, what are they anyway? So there's the
touch,
hearing,
smelling,
seeing, and tasting. Yeah. So the 5 senses that all are, I mean, I had COVID and I did lose my sense of taste for a couple days when I first got COVID, and oh my gosh, that's like,
it's horrible.
It's horrible. It's horrible. There's like no desire to eat anything. And when you do, even putting on my moisturizer, which has a really citrusy smell that I love, that's when I discovered that I wasn't, I was putting that on at night, and I'm like, why can't I smell this? You know, so specifically, you know, really being able to enjoy those 5 senses fully still, super thankful for that.
If you had to give up one of them, what would it be?
I can't pick.
Really?
I just wouldn't, I don't know.
So I had the
I
same
think
thing
we
happen.
actually talked
Did
about
we talk
this.
about that? Not our senses.
But
like hearing and seeing.
When we were talking about hearing and sight,
like,
would you rather be deaf or would you rather be blind? Yeah.
I'd rather be neither.
Yeah, I know.
But if I had to choose, okay, so that, going back to that.
I mean,
that's a tough one.
If I had to choose, probably sight.
Really? Mm-hmm. Okay. Why?
Because I can close my eyes and still see all those things.
Yeah. Well, because you've been able to see them.
Yes.
Yeah. I had the same experience with losing taste, but it was when I went through the thyroid thing, and then I had the radioactive iodine treatment after, and I didn't have any sense of taste for probably 2 months.
Wow.
It was awful.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like I could smell, I could smell the burger. I could smell the,
Yeah.
I had to stay in a hotel because you're like basically radioactive.
Wow.
For like 4 days or something, because you couldn't really be around the kids and everything. So they were bringing me, what do you want? Because I hadn't been able to eat anything but like Little House on the Prairie leavened bread with no salt in it and all this stuff. I was making my own stuff at home because I literally could not have anything with iodine. Now, why didn't I realize that they make salt without iodine?
Oh,
it never even occurred to me. Okay, I probably should have looked. But anyway, so I was like, oh, I want PF Chang's. Oh, I want a burger. Oh, how about a latte?
Yeah.
All those things sound so good, and I hadn't had anything. And so they're bringing this stuff and leaving it at my doorstep, and I am so excited to eat this stuff. Although I didn't feel good. I felt like I had the flu, but I was like, I'm going to eat it anyway. And then I couldn't taste it. And I was just like, and so then I didn't even want it anymore. Yeah. What's the point in eating all of that, like fat and calories and all that stuff? You're not going to enjoy it.
Yeah. It's a big part of the whole experience with food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know what I would lose. I was thinking I would lose my if I had to lose my hearing or lose one of my sights, I lose my hearing. But it's like, I just think I would be devastated if I couldn't hear music.
Yeah, that's why.
Or your voice, Michelle, because it's so soothing.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Yes. She's got that sexy voice there. So, but now I don't know, because I just think I couldn't listen. I think I would really have a tough time if I couldn't hear music. So anyway.
Yeah.
Do you have another thing on your list that you're...
Yeah. So, and it kind of ties in, I think, with what we were just talking about. I'm super thankful for nature. I'm a nature girl, and it's not like I'm out taking nature hikes or anything like that by any means. It's not in that way, but I am so internally thankful when even when I'm leaving in the morning and it's a beautiful sunrise, the beautiful sunset, the trees. I notice a lot of things in nature, I think more so than some people. I'm not going to say than a lot of people. I don't know, but I mean, I notice weird things like when leaves are falling in front of me as I'm driving and they're falling to the beat of the music that I'm listening to.
Or you're seeing 11:11 all the time.
Things like that.
Yeah.
I just really pay attention. Things just really jump out at me, and I just really notice stuff in nature. I'm a big lover of nature.
It's funny that you should say that, because I think that's the one thing that I have kind of taken for granted. It's going to be there.
Yeah.
And so I don't take the time really to go, like, you have so many plants.
Yeah.
I couldn't keep a plant alive to save my life.
Well, that was me.
Oh,
that was me, like not long ago.
Yeah. My mom would just do it for me. And
yeah.
put a note, please water me or I'll die, on the plant. I'll get a fake one, kind of like the one behind you.
Rick is the one that inspired me.
Really?
Yeah. Cause he got going on, it's a newly found love of his in the last probably 2 years.
I feel, and I think maybe with the weather, I go back, I really do complain about that a lot. I need to stop, because the reason why we have such a beautiful place to live is because of the weather.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was with someone today driving across the 520 bridge, which is, for all of you out there, we have this huge Lake Washington. It's like 72 miles around. And there's a bridge that goes over it from the Seattle area to another big city over in Bellevue. And the person I was in my car with me, he's not from here. And he was like, oh my gosh, look at that mountain range.
Could you see Rainier today?
You could see Rainier. Oh. But I mean, it was a little bit clouded over. Yeah. But I was like, I said, oh my gosh, you should see it when it's sunny out. I said, I truly am in awe when I'm driving down the freeway and I see it, right?
Me too.
And he was like, it's pretty awe-inspiring right now.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at it going, yeah, it's Mount Rainier. You
right.
know? Oh yeah. No, those are the Olympics and the Cascades, over there and blah, blah, blah.
Beautiful.
I know. So
really
I realize that it's like you're looking at things through someone else's eyes. All of a sudden it just has a completely different meaning to it, you know?
Sometimes I feel like I'm annoyingly appreciative. I'll be driving to work. I talk to Rick on my way to work. I'm like, oh my gosh, you just wouldn't even believe the sunrise today. The sky is just blah, blah. It's like, oh, here we go again.
Here we go. I know, but it's like, it'd be better. It's better to say that than to say, oh, dang.
I know.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, nature. I think nature or nurture. No, just nature.
They kind of go hand in hand.
They do.
Yeah.
But I've been starting to look at things a little bit differently, just because there's just so much beauty around us, and I don't know. I just really haven't paid attention.
Yeah.
But I do know that I wouldn't want to live like in a concrete jungle. You know, like live like downtown in a big high rise.
Right.
I don't think I would like something like that because there's no green space.
Yeah.
I like to have like a little bit of green space or something around me that just gives me like a little outside space. You know, it doesn't have to be a lot, but that's my version of nature.
Right.
Or just seeing the water and the mountains, and oh my God, it's like I was looking over at Puget Sound today, and it's just very captivating.
Yep.
You know, they actually, total side note, I was looking at some condos today, and they have, I was out looking out the window west towards the Puget Sound, and you could see the piers, all the piers down on the waterfront. They have a pickleball court on one of the piers.
Oh, really? Doesn't surprise me.
Oh, I've never seen that before.
I mean, who knew? But it doesn't surprise me.
I know. I was like, well, I'm going to have to go down there and play. So anyway,
they're popping up everywhere.
They are. I know. Yeah. It's like the new thing.
Yeah.
So, but we have equipment, so we're going to play.
Are we?
Yes. I'm going to make you go play. You'll love it.
Okay.
You'll appreciate it.
Well, I will. I'll be thankful when we're done.
Yeah. Well, I have to say that one thing that I am very thankful and appreciative of is the time that we get to spend together and work on this podcast.
Yeah.
And I've learned so much. And as you see, like the board, there's a board I have in the office, which is where we record, that has everything split up by quarter. And so I've got my mantra elevate for 2003 and then 2023, excuse me. And then Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. And there's not a ton of stuff on it, but you can see Q1, it says podcast launch, ! We did that. And Arizona, a couple times that I was going there, we did that. Ali Wong went to Snoop, went to Ed Sheeran. I'm looking at the board as I'm reading this. And then it says YouTube channel, which I've moved down to 2024.
I talked her into moving it down.
Yeah. Because that's a great example of not being in a content with the fact that we kind of are working on this and trying to master all of these things. But I'm like, okay, ready to move to the next level. And we really weren't ready.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I know, because I'm procrastinating. But you just kind of told me you need to knock that shit off. I'm like, okay, next year it is, you know. But anyway, my point being is that it's like I look at things from that perspective, and it's like there's milestones that I choose, or we choose for the podcast, the milestones that we're doing and the topics that we're doing and the research that goes into the topics and the people we get to talk to and interview as a part of the podcast. It's just been really awesome.
Yeah, it really has.
And the one thing that I don't know if your kids had said this to, I know one of mine said this to me. He goes, you know what? I realized when he was listening to the podcast, he goes, you are memorializing being like when you're a grandma, your grandkids are going to grow up and they're going to hear grandma. From 2022 or 23 or whatever. Okay, 2023. I need to get my years straight. And the topics, God forbid, that we were talking about and what's happening in that day and age and all of this. And it's like, I hadn't even looked at it that way.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool perspective.
Yeah. So it's kind of like journaling, but not having to write.
Right.
You know? So,
and we can't burn these.
No. And we don't want to.
No.
You know, as what we were talking about putting this particular podcast together, this episode, and we were talking about, you know, the controversial topics out in the world, and Thanksgiving itself is controversial to a lot of people. for a lot of different reasons, which I honestly had not really thought about too much as I was growing up or even being a young adult, because it didn't affect me that way.
Well, it didn't affect us that way. And I mean, it's not what we're taught in school.
No, that's my point. Everything's kind of been, whitewashed, and you have a turkey on your head and you learn the turkey song and, all those sorts of things. But really there was such a tremendous amount of famine and disease and people's rights getting taken away and their land getting taken away. And that all happened here. Yeah. Which just kind of blows my mind. So you can kind of understand why some people wouldn't look at the traditional, quote, Thanksgiving with the turkey and all that kind of stuff as a holiday to celebrate. So I've chosen, the last couple of years, it's like when I've really thought about that. And a lot of that, honestly, is really, I started thinking about more during the pandemic because everything was so different, and you just started thinking about things differently and everything too. And I was like, I don't know that I don't celebrate Thanksgiving in my mind the way that the traditional Thanksgiving celebration is. Yes, we have dinner and there's a turkey and blah, 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 all that kind of stuff, which, by the way, my sister cooks. I would never be the one. I've tried. It's not me. But I'm celebrating what's important to me. That's how I've chosen to look at it, because I'm celebrating that family that I'm with. I'm celebrating being able to actually have a meal together and having a gorgeous, very tasty meal that my sister typically will put together, and I bring dessert, and just being with the other people and watching football. I mean, all of these things together, I'm super thankful for, but I don't really look at it like the holiday where the Pilgrims were having, the whatever food on the table and everybody was happy, because I don't really think that's what was going on. No. So just a side note, wanted to put that out there because we've chosen to really focus on the positive for this episode instead of the controversial aspects of it, which we maybe will get into with, other episodes down the road, because we're not afraid to talk about it, but we really want to focus on the highlights of, where we are as people and in this world today. And just I think as we move, there's a lot of things at this time of year. As we move into this season, it definitely causes my mind, anyways, for reflection on so many things to be grateful for. When you think of the season of the harvest and all the different things. The bounty that, we have and what comes from, sounds cheesy now, but from the fruits of our labor, all the things that, really that's where it all stems from. So we talk about going into the holiday season and, the vast majority of what you see is in media, retail. It's all about buying gifts. Yeah. And it's not like I have a problem with gifts. I mean, of course, I like to get gifts. I love, 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 love to give gifts and watch people open them. I love that more than anything. And seeing that I actually surprise them or they love what I got. I love that. But really, is that what it's all about? Right. I mean, the gifts are it's just a symbolic thing that was like a portion of what was going on. Yeah. Well, we should talk about this in another episode because with that, the holiday season, once we move into December, it's just so much stress and anxiety and all of this. Do you think, though, you feel more so that way now because we worked in retail for so many years? I think there's so many expectations. Yeah. I taking the retail out of it, there's so many expectations that go along with the holidays. I think it makes it extremely difficult for people to enjoy them. Yeah. Truly. Well, yeah, like the expectation of, having dinner with the people that you may not see more than once a year, not your immediate family, but maybe extended kind of a thing. Well, and just the parties, the parties, the shopping, the gifts, plus you're working on top of all that. It's honestly, it's more challenging now that I'm not in retail because I have to make time to go do the shopping. When I was working at Nordstrom, I pretty much just did all the shopping during a working day. Yeah. Many of over the course of, but I could do it's like killing two birds with one stone, essentially. And now I can't do that. No. I have to purposely go online or go to the store. And I like to online shop during the holidays. I just like to avoid everything to do that. But yeah, let's get into that with another one.
Yeah. So anyways,
we will chitty chat about that another time. The last thing that I just wanted to share, and you might have one more, but the last one for me is, and you guys all know I'm a dog mom, and I have 2 adorable, sweet puppies. Well, a dog that's 4 and Harlow, and then Kashi, who's a puppy, but he's like on crack or something. And I just adore, they are so unconditional. And it's like people out there that have animals. It's like, you're so fortunate to have these little creatures that think you are the sun, the world, and the moon. So take care of them and give them all the love they deserve. And I'll do the same.
For sure.
Yeah. So Michelle even gives love to them.
Oh, yeah, I do.
She took Harlow downstairs today because she was being kind of a little
having
brat.
a moment. Yeah.
To Cash. So she took her down. She goes and hangs out with her for a while. And yeah, they're just, I am so grateful for them because they just make me happy.
Yeah.
You know? So anyway, I'm grateful for a lot of other things too.
Yeah.
But these are kind of my highlights.
Mine too.
Yeah.
And back to when you think about the things that we just talked about, Jules, and those important factors in our life that bring us joy, that we are, grateful for, just putting that into light and thinking about those things to focus on them daily. Mm-hmm. I get why research shows that it will improve your mental health. It will improve your physical health. It helps with stronger social bonds also. And it gives you a resilience that you wouldn't have otherwise, knowing that you have all these wonderful things in your life. So
that might overshadow or just like kind of cancel out other things.
Yeah.
That are in your life that maybe aren't so great or are getting better. All of those things are lessons.
Yeah.
I mean, as painful as things can be, they're all lessons that we can either learn from or not learn from.
Yeah.
And so they may be, honestly, it's like the only way you really grow is if you're uncomfortable, right? Mm-hmm. And learning things. So I think that it's important to note that. Absolutely.
And my challenge for everybody would be to take 5 minutes this week and write a letter of gratitude. Mm-hmm. And just put it in an envelope and stick it in your top dresser drawer that's next to your nightstand or whatever. And when you're having a hard time with something emotionally, physically, whatever it might be, take that letter out and read it.
That's a wonderful idea.
As a reminder of what you do have. So anyways.
Or you can just listen to this episode.
Write the letter of gratitude and keep it in your nightstand.
Yeah. Next to all your other stuff that's in there.
Yeah.
that you're grateful for. Well, on that note.
Yeah. With that, everybody keep us in mind about all the socials that we're on, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, and all the platforms that you get to choose from to listen to us. And remember, when you do, please download the episodes, especially as you're listening. If there's things that you want to make reference to, things that you like, if you're getting ready to travel, download those episodes so that you can keep them with you and have them to listen.
Yeah, that's what I do. And then I just delete them when I'm done to save the room on my phone. So.
Yep, just download and delete.
Well, as we wrap this up, I'm appreciative for you, little Miss Shelly Belly.
Yeah, as I am for you, Jules.
And looking forward to our next episode, which we will have coming next week.
Yeah. Until then, everybody.
Have a good one. Peace out.
Bye-bye.